Hey everybody, this is Games Plus James and welcome back to our 2D tutorial platform series here in Unity, where we're taking a look at all the basic elements that you need to put together your own little 2D platformer game. So today what we're going to add to the game is a pause menu, which obviously is important for any game. If you want to get interrupted and you want someone distracts you or something like that, you want to be able to pause your game, and you want to be able to do stuff like quit to the main menu, for example, or maybe go back to like a level select area, which we've already implemented in a previous video. So that's what we're going to do today, and it's relatively straightforward. It's the basics of it are pretty similar to the main menu stuff that we did in the last video as well. So we might as well just get started. So what we're going to do first is go create a new game object here, and we just create an empty one, and we're going to rename this pause menu. And then what we're going to do is go to game object up here in UI, and we're going to create a new canvas. And we're going to drop this underneath the pause menu. We don't want to add the canvas to the pause menu, because we want to have a sub item. Because what we want to have is to be able to pause and start the game. And so we'll have a script running on the pause menu here that'll be looking for when the player presses the button to pause the game, and then it'll turn our menu that'll be here on or off based on whether the player's active or whatever. Actually, we should make sure our pause menu is set to 0, 0 like that. And our canvas should be in the center of that. Yeah, that's okay. Perfect. So what we're going to do is add a few little elements to make it obvious that our game is paused. And a simple thing to do is to just add an image to the canvas. And as you can, if we zoom out so we can look at the whole UI stuff. As you can see, it takes up a little corner of the screen here. What we're going to do is just make a giant black square, or a giant black image to cover the screen basically, and all that's going to do is completely cover the screen so the player can't see what's going on, but we're going to make it slightly see-through so it just looks like you're darkening the game when it's paused. It makes it stand out a little bit more. So what we'll do is, rather than having to search for a new image, we can just take this default blank thing and grab the color of it and bring the color down to black. And obviously you can't see it there now, but that's not that much use to us. And what we're going to do is take this alpha value, which controls how transparent it is, as you can see by dragging it up and down. So we'll put it round about here, I think should be okay. And we'll resize this by just clicking and dragging it. So we'll drag it out and drag it bigger in the area. As you can see here on the screen now, look, everything's looking darker in the game, and if we just turn it off, nice and bright, dark. So it's just a handy way to demonstrate that the game is paused for the player. But obviously that's not really enough. And actually, look what we've done here. This image has been added to the normal canvas, which is handling our player UI and all that stuff. And that's not what we want to happen at all. So we need to drag this image down here and make it a child of canvas here. And we'll activate that again. Because we don't want it to be in the wrong thing. Because what we want is, we want everything that we're doing now to be a subset of the pause menu here, because we're going to want to make this a prefab so that we can use it in all our other levels as well. So now we've got our image. Another thing we want to add is just a little bit of text to say that the game is paused. So we'll just, instead of new text here, we'll say paused. Oh, not paused with a tree. Paused. We don't need an enter there. And we'll change the color of that to white. And we'll center it, and we'll make it slightly bigger. Say 22 should be big enough. And we'll just move it up a tiny little bit, and there we go. And we can see actually the text is kind of a little bit fuzzy looking. So what we should do is, on our canvas here, if we set it to pixel perfect, now it'll line everything up nice and neatly so it'll look good no matter what kind of resolution we're using. Oh, and actually that's another little thing I completely forgot. Since, if we just make this smaller here, with our image, we've aligned it up to the center of the canvas, and that's fine. Except when we make the screen size bigger, now our image is still lined up to the center of the canvas, but it's not covering all the outsides of everything. So what we want to do is make sure our image is selected and click on this. And instead of just being aligned up to the center, we're going to make it stretch to the outsides. So see where it says stretch here and stretch, we want it to stretch to all the corners of the screen. So we click on that there, and now when we maximize it, now everything has been covered by our darkness that we have, which is perfect. So of course, if we're going to have this pause menu, we're going to need a few buttons to press. And much like we did in our previous episode, we go to game object UI button, and we'll just drag this button down a little bit here, just to round about there, I'd say. We want to change a few values on this button to make it more obvious that it's been selected and stuff. So we're going to make the highlighted color just a bit darker, so it's obvious when we move our mouse over the button. Oh, not red. Make it a bit darker, and the pressed color darker again. Perfect. And of course we want to click on our button here and go into our text, and instead of just saying button, we will say this first button will be for resuming the game, so we'll just say resume game, and we'll make this a darker black as well, just to make it stand out that a little bit more. Okay, so we'll rename this resume, and then we'll duplicate that, and we'll rename this one level select, and do the same with the text. Change that to level select, and then duplicate. Oh no, actually we'll move down first, sorry. Move it down, that looks about right. Duplicate it again and show what over here. We'll move this one down too, to about there, and this one will be to quit to the main menu. So we'll just say quit to main for the name of it, and then on the label of the text we will say quit to main menu. Now, so there we go, there's the 3 buttons, they're all nicely set up, but of course at the moment this won't do anything. I mean, if we press play here, our little pause menu will be up, but it won't do anything. We haven't attached any script, we haven't done anything to control when the players, what happens. Oh, we got killed. The game can play away. That's obviously not what you want going on when the game is paused. So now we need to write ourselves a little script, which is going to be a very simple script. As much as every script we've handled so far in the series hopefully has shown that like the basics of what you can do in Unity aren't that hard to write crazy code for. You don't have to write mad stuff. You can keep things relatively easy and still have interesting results. So we'll go create C# script, and we'll call this pause menu. So we'll just open this up here in MonoDevelop. Once it finishes loading up, it's going to be pretty similar to what we've used for our main menu script in the previous episode. It uses a lot of the same basic elements, so I should probably open that one up too. Once it starts loading, pause menu. If you want to open main menu as well, maybe. Sometimes it wants to do things that you don't really want it to. Wait for it to catch up. There we go. Okay. So we've got our little public voids here that like load the level from the main menu and they quit and stuff like that. We're going to use basically the same things, and I have public strings that we enter to decide what level will be loaded when you press each button. So we're going to do the same thing here for our pause menu. We're going to have public string level select for when we want to load our level select from the menu, and public string main menu, which will take us back to the main menu of the game. So let's add those little options for ourselves. So we got public void resume, which will be what the resume button does. We'll wrap that there. Public void level select, which is what that button does, and then public void quit, which will be what the main menu does. Okay, so much like we did with our main menu over here, we have application.loadLevel whatever name. So we're going to just copy that and paste that in here. So we'll be doing the same thing for our level select and our quit. So we'll just pop that in twice there. Obviously start level isn't something that we've used in this script. So for our level select, we'll be using this variable level select. So we'll pop that in here. Level select. And our quit menu will be using our main menu. So perfect. So that's what will handle what happens when we click those two buttons, and that's perfectly fine. But we want the game to actually pause when we pause the game, and to be able to activate and deactivate. So what we're going to need is a couple of extra little variables up here. So we're going to have a public bool is paused. So that'll be able to determine if the game is paused or if it's not paused. Basically, that'll be the control that we're using to decide whether the menu is shown or whether it's not shown. And then we got public game object pause menu canvas. So that'll be the, if we switch back to Unity just quickly here, that'll be the our canvas that we've got here. That'll be what we're talking about in that situation. So this will be something that we're going to turn on or off, and then that'll hide the black image and all the buttons and the text that's saying paused. So if we go back in here, we won't need the start function at all. So we get rid of that. And then in our update loop here, basically what we're going to do at first is just check if the thing is paused. So if is paused. So if pause is true, then we want it to show the pause menu. So what we'll say is pause menu canvas dot set active true. So what that'll do is if the game is paused, then it'll put the menu up perfectly for us. And then else, so if that is not true, then pause menu canvas dot set active false. Perfect. So if the game is paused, it'll show it. If it's not paused, it won't show it. And how do we switch between the game being paused and unpaused? Well, there's two ways we're going to do it. We're going to do it with our resume game, and we're going to do it by using the normal kind of way that people pause things in games by pressing escape. So we'll do this first. So if input dot get key down key code escape, so that'll check if the escape button has been pressed. So when the escape button is pressed, then we want to use escape for both pausing and unpausing the game. So rather than saying is paused is equal to true, what we'll say is paused is equal to not is paused. So if the game is paused already, it'll unpause it, and if it's unpaused, it'll pause it. And then finally what we want to do with our resume game here is the only situation where the resume game will be able to be called is when the game is already paused. So we will want is paused is equal to false. So the game is not paused once that's happened. So we'll save that there now, and if we pop back into Unity, we'll wait for this to compile, and we should have the basic functionality of it working, but we won't have our player we'll still be able to move around as the player for the moment, but we want to check that everything so far is all working fine. So once it's compiled, we'll have to assign the functions that we created to each button. So now it's compiled, and if we click on one button here, so resume, so we can go ahead and drag create the function one by one, but a short way to do it is select all the buttons that we want, because we know they're all going to use the same object with the script attached. So we'll just select all of them, click the plus here, and then grab our pause menu, which would be a bad idea because we'll undo that. No, delete you. No, what we actually have to do is add our pause menu script to our pause menu first, or else we won't be able to do anything. So if we go to our scripts, type in pause, we'll get our pause menu one there. Now we can click on our three little buttons, and if we scroll down, we can grab that pause menu, pop it in there. Oh, no, I want to select object. And now, one by one, see, this has all gone red here because we dragged the prefab in and then we deleted prefab, and now this is trying to find it. So what we need to do is break the prefab there. So now these go back to not being red again. But if we select our buttons one by one now, we've already decided that a pause menu is going to have our script on it. So if we go to no function, we go to pause menu, and we got resume, and for level select we'll go pause menu, level select, and then pause menu, quit. So now our buttons are all attached up nicely, all sorted for us. So if we hit play, as you can see, these are all, we haven't We haven't assigned any of this stuff here. That was bad. So we've got to put our canvas image in here so that it knows what thing to be able to turn on and off. And we actually should turn our canvas off by default for starting the game. And we've got our level select and our main menu options here. So what we want to do is make sure they have the same name. So if we click on levels here, so our level select is called level select, and our main menu is title underscore menu. Perfect. So now this time we will hit play, and finally it will be actually working properly for us. So once it gets going here, as you can see, we're walking along, everything's fine, and then we pause the game. Oh, everything comes up. We can resume the game from there, or we can hit escape to switch between paused and unpaused. And we click level select, it'll take us out. Pop back in here. We can quit to the main menu. Perfect, that's just exactly what you want to happen. But of course, the only thing is, if we run the game again here, if we pause the game, oh, we can still walk around and jump around all over the place. And the easiest way to stop that is basically just to change the speed of the whole game. So what you want to do is, like, it's currently running at a speed of 1, which is the normal running speed of the game. And what we're going to do is just set the speed down to 0 so that the game is paused while we're paused. So what we'll do here, we already have our thing for detecting whether the menu should be turned on or off by the isPause variable. And all we have to do is add in a line underneath each one of these here. So what we'll just add in is time scale. So if the game is paused, we want to set the time scale to equal to 0 f, and then if the game is unpaused, we want to reset it back to time scale. There we go. We want to reset it back to 1f. And basically that's all you need. That's the thing that'll just be able to determine whether the game is paused and whether you should be able to move things around or else stay stuck in place. So we'll just save that, pop back in here, and we hit play once this finishes compiling down here in the corner. And once it all starts running, we should be able to see that the player can no longer move when the game is paused. So once it decides to go, here we go. So now we hit pause, and you can see the coins aren't spinning anymore. If I press the movement buttons, nothing happens. You can't jump, you can't do anything. It's perfect. That's what we want to happen. So there you go. That's the basics of creating a little pause menu. But what we want to do is be able to put this pause menu in all the other levels. So what we want to do is grab our pause menu here, and oh no, we don't want to drag it in there actually. What we want to do is go to our prefabs folder and drag it into there. So now it's created a pause menu prefab, and we're going to save that, save the level we're in, switch levels to level 2, go to our prefabs and just grab that pause menu and put it into place there. Do the exact same thing with level 3, just save that, prefabs, pause menu, drag that in there, and the same on our level select, prefabs, drag the pause menu in there, and there we go, perfect. And also, I've just noticed here we've only got 2 exits on our level select, but we've got 3 levels, so we might as well, while we're here, we'll just duplicate this little level exit, and we'll just double click on him to zoom in a bit, and we'll drag that over to there, change level to load to 3, bang, hit save, and now if we play the game, we should be able to go through all the levels, and each one should have a pause menu activated. There we go. So we've got a pause menu and switch between. Let's go to level 2 for example. Now we've got pause menu here. Our player gets stuck in the air nicely in place, like just like we want him to. Oh, getting killed. We can use that to go back to the level select, and from level select we can just restart the level select basically. And we go in here. Oh, we haven't added level 3 to the build settings, but that's okay. So there you go. That's the basics for creating a pause menu in your game. Hopefully it should work out well for you. And we've got a lot of the basics of having your own platformer game going here now in the game. A lot of it is just about refining things from here, but we will return soon with some more platform tutorial goodness. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll talk to you very soon. Thanks for watching this episode, and if you'd like to see just how some of the concepts we've covered can be brought together into a fully fledged game, then head to portalnauts.com and check out the demo for my game that I've been working on for the last while. It uses a lot of the concepts we've covered so far in the series, as well as other things that we're going to cover in the future. So if you want to get a feel for where we're going and what kind of things you can make with these with the basics of Unity, head over there, try out the game for yourself, and let me know what you think of it, of course. And the best place to let me know is to head to Twitter @GamesPlusJames. Say hi, I'm always there, ready to say hello and do stupid things. But also, if you'd like to see some of the game being worked on and developed in real time, head to twitch.tv/GamesPlusJames, where I regularly stream development of the game, and you can get to see behind the scenes of how things all work. So, head there, say hello, and I'll see you all in the near future.